your horror movie podcast.
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I make sure I do my 10 minutes meditation shirtless outside every single day. So I just make sure.
He delivers every night, John.
Yeah.
I do
bet he does.
Oh God, and we're recording. I look up and it's like a recording as I start saying how I do my shirtless.
If there's ever an episode for a dick joke, it's gonna be this one.
Of course.
All right, fellas, welcome in. This is Hack Stab Slash Test Mic 1 2 1 2. How we doing?
Check. Woo, woo.
Doing fan freaking tastic, dude.
Fan freaking tastic. One might say we're about to have a very fun time.
Oh, we're gonna have a vicious fun time if you want me to,
Let's get crazy, boys. All right, before we dive into this, welcome back, Hack Stab Slash. I'm Hacky. That Stabby. This guy down here is definitely a shirtless or shirt on meditation wise. Just Justin. Free the nipples.
Dude, you gotta get that sign, man.
Hashtag free the nipple.
He's all about them vitamins. All about them vitamins.
Let's go.
All right, make sure you like, share, subscribe, smash those buttons, dude. Follow us on all kinds of social platforms. We are literally everywhere. Even though TikTok right now is being a finicky bitch.
No news today.
Zero. We released 3 things for content. We got fucking nothing.
Horrible.
De nada. Real quick, guys. Have either one of you seen this movie before I brought it to your retinas?
No.
Never heard of it. Never saw anything
heard
about
of it. Never. Well, I only heard about it from you, but that was it.
Never, not a peep. All right. I had just watched this leading into the podcast, and I got hair in my mouth. That's why I recommended it. Because I had watched it just looking for something to do. When this movie came out, I very vaguely heard about it, and I was excited for it because this was a kid that stumbles into like a 12-step program or like a self-help meeting for serial killers. And my brain was instantly like, I need this in my life. And then it like vanished. I never heard about it again until we just do it now. So real quick, my expectation rating, because it is a Shudder original, and I've heard of next to nobody in this cast, would have been a flat 5. What about either one of you guys?
That's you know me. I right in the middle, dude. I had to give it a 5. Not only because it was a Shudder original. And with those, it's either like going to be amazing or it's going to be a total freaking sci-fi flop.
Waterboy, real quick, because your expectations never fucking change, dude. It's
never
always
do.
A 5. If there was a real cat dog, you'd pet the middle of it, huh?
I would.
So you wouldn't favor either side.
No, because they both deserve love, Sean.
Justin, would you pet the kitty or would you pet the puppy?
I don't even know how to answer this.
Justin likes the kitty, dude.
No, I'd use 2 hands. Get it both.
No,
no, I'm not done. Like, guys, don't take that out of context. No. Oh, just guys.
How would you,
Justin? I was trying to set you up to ask if you like to pet that pussy, and instead you made it 10 times
worse.
How do you do that, dude? How do you do that?
I don't know, but in my head I was thinking I like animals, so I was like I wanted to make sure they both get their love. That's all I meant. Don't need to make this weird.
All right, Justin, what was your expectation?
This is already going great. My expectation, I looked at by the looks of the cover, I gave it a 6.
A 6.
Yep. But I said I knew nothing about it.
You like the colors.
You guys want to dive right into this? Waterboy, you want to take us away?
We open up to a motel in Minnesota in 1983 to a serial killer sharpening his knife set, where it seems like he's a knife salesman of some sorts.
You caught that, right?
Yeah.
I paused it to make sure. I was like, this motherfucker is a traveling salesman, and all he's selling is butcher blocks full of knives.
Perfect. So as he loads up his car, and we see a woman at the phone booth looking for a ride. She gets in, and in a typical serial killer fashion, he locks the doors. But nope, joke's on him. She whips out a bigger blade and makes him gag, instead with a knife to the throat and multiple stabbings to the chest.
I love the fact that his persona as a serial killer is to fucking stab women. Yeah. And instead he dies by the knife.
She literally pulled a Uno reverse card on him.
Amazing.
Real quick, do you guys know where this serial killer is from? Did he look familiar to either one of you?
Nope.
No, you guys haven't seen the It remakes?
I've seen the first one.
He's the pharmacist.
He looked creepy
Okay.
as shit. He looked
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
familiar. He looked wicked familiar.
He's the pharmacist in the It reboot.
yeah, in that small little town in the little
Shit,
yeah.
Dude,
Yep.
that pharmacist in the first, it was so creepy. Dude. Fast forward to Vicious Fanatics interview. Man, Joel interviewing a horror director, letting him know about his lazy directing and putting his 2 cents in on a film where a taxi cab driver is the murderer. And then the director boots him out. Back home in his apartment, he has a roommate, Sarah, who he has a crush on, and sees her coming home from a date with the picture perfect mentality of an 80s douche, sports car included. Joel leaves for the girls' night and sees said douche putting on a ring. So, out of curiosity and doesn't want his girl getting hurt, gets in a cab and follows him to the bar where he tries to record his confession on having a wife. They have a couple drinks and time to leave, and Joel notices we now know his name's Bob talking to a barman where he stuck the tab on him instead. And then Joel
Classic
says,
move.
and then Joel says,
Classic.
fuck it, buys the bottle and gets absolutely wrecked and bumps into the killer eyeshadow from the beginning and uses the payphone to call Sarah before puking into the phone and it burning a fuse.
Dude, that puke was disgusting.
It was gross.
And they zoomed in on it, and it
I was gonna
just
say, why are they?
it
gonna
looked
do
like it looked like curdled cold gravy.
No,
Oh,
dude,
dear God.
the
Oh,
curdles.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay, let's move it along. We don't need a description.
that was no, dude. That shit was chunky. Walks into a random storage closet and passes out on the floor.
It happens.
It does. Shit's
Justin, that
going.
ever happened to you?
Oh, that happened to him all the time, and then he changed.
Yeah, well, let's keep this moving.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he jumped out a window before, but
Yeah.
shit's going down there though. Closing time and cleanup time, getting ready with doors all locked. He wakes up and stumbles into a meeting where they think Joel is Phil. We soon realize that this is an AA meeting for serial killers, telling their stories about how they maintain their lifestyles as killers, and they get to Joel where he tells his same story as he's a taxi cab
It's a
driver.
taxi cab. Just think about it,
Come on.
guys.
It's the perfect.
The perfect killer.
It's-
He is so
Okay.
worried and stuttering and fumbling over himself. Justin, this is you to a T.
Dude, it's unreal.
Whenever
The
like
awkwardness
something
throughout the whole thing.
awkwardness happens to you in the morning,
Oh,
it's mint.
Picture perfect. And it's a perfect killer story from earlier. Break time, though, and we hear a knock on the door, and Phil turns the knob, and it's none other than the douchebag Bob, who looks like a greaser from earlier. And Phil explains to him what kind of killer he is, and he isn't buying it one bit. And they all start questioning him like Justin does the pod every other week. Your turn, buddy.
Do you hear the way he talks to him? He's like, "So what's your gimmick?" He's like, "You a skinner,
yeah.
you a
Yeah.
stabber and a slasher," and then he grabs him by the dick and he goes, "You a corpse humper?"
Yeah, there's a lot of questioning. He is absolutely grilling him. He starts doing the whole taxi cab story again, and he is just grilling and he's poking holes in this incredible taxi story. And then to the point where he's like, "How many girls you killed this year?" And he's
So many.
It's like, yeah,
So many.
so many.
Dude.
I can't keep track. And now they all realize, like, holy crap, like he's not one of them. And within 10 seconds, he tries to run, like sneak out the back, and he is caught immediately and they're in the hallway. And as they're in the hallway, I mean, the whole group's there. They're already arguing over who should kill him. And they the leader of the group, Whammy, what's his real name? David in the movie, I don't even know. Yeah, the guy from Anchorman.
His name's Zachary.
Yeah, he's trying to keep everyone calm. He's trying to come up with a plan, but these guys are getting restless. They just want to kill him right away. And he's like, "All right, look, this is what we're gonna do." He's pushing one of them, and Big Mike, who is like the killer, that's like looks like kind of like
This
Jason.
guy.
Yeah, he puts like a spike right through his neck. And that's not all. Hideo wants to jump in. Hideo, the other killer, stabs him. But that's still not all, because after that, we get a needle in the face thrown as a dart by Creepy Clown Man.
Fritz.
And what's his name?
His name is Fritz the Clown.
Yeah, Fritz the Clown. And at this point, once again, he tries to run for his life. You see a tape recorder fall out that Joel's been recording them.
Oh.
And the girl,
Did you say tape ricotta?
I did 100% tape recorder. I was trying to move on
Well,
and not get awkwardly called
yeah.
out. But tape recorder. Oh my god, I said it again, recorder. Anyway,
You
so
Let's macaroni down.
at this
Yeah.
point, he sees the girl Carrie, and she ninja kicks him into a separate room, runs
You're
in
on a
there
roll.
with them, and secures the door. Secures the door. And I don't know
You called before you just started stumbling over your words. You called her Carrie. It's Carrie.
Carrie, right? Like
was she carrying on luggage? Like did she carry mail?
Carry
Guys,
on my way. Carry on my wayward son.
My English is not so great today. I'm sorry. My God. Anyway, where was I? Carrie. Is that any? Oh, Carrie.
Carrie. It's Carrie, but it's spelled like Carrie. It's Carrie.
All right, so let's move along.
It's like Aaron and Aaron.
So Carrie shuts the door, and she basically he's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm the person that's gonna kill all those guys." What the hell's going on? I thought she was one of them. I don't know what's going on. She secures the door and yells, "First one through this door is getting this axe in the head." Joel right now is explaining how he followed Bob and how he's dating his roommate. And as this all
it's
is
not creepy at all.
Yeah, no, and she's even just like, what the heck? As this has happened, you hear the music blast, and we get the insane scene, the jukebox. Bob has hit the jukebox.
I love so much this scene. Not like the music that plays, and he like thrusts his hips. It's great,
dude.
But tell me this dude is not
movie.
Matthew McConaughey, especially when he starts snapping his fingers and demanding a quarter.
This is the best part of the whole entire movie. This guy dances at the jukebox, get for the quarter. And as he's doing this, he is like signaling these guys and whispering like the plans to them and like making motions and like.
Did you see the closed captions, Justin?
Yes.
He goes up to Mike and it just says, "I have a plan." Then he goes up to Fritz and it says, "I have a plan." And then he goes up to Hideo and it just pops up in Japanese or Chinese. Like subtitles change languages,
and he's like literally whispering to them and everything. And and now meanwhile back in, Joel's asking her like, "What the hell's going on? Like, is this like meeting for serial killers?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's sort of like a business retreat for like serial killers." And she goes on and explains how those 4 men are responsible for like 12% of what a random number, first of all. But
she did such quick math. Because there was 5 of them, but Alex is dead. Zachary is dead.
She literally
she does the math.
Yeah. It says 12% of all murders. And we get a quick intro, which is kind of important. And we see how like Hideo is a high-class chef and also part-time cannibal. And you see him using his ninja knife.
Full-time psychopath.
Yeah, and you see Mike right now is a rage monster with mommy issues. And he's the big dude, kind of like Jason.
She goes, he's very sloppy, and it's very common for at least 1 or more girls to get away from him.
Yeah, awesome meta references to a final girl. We see Fritz, the clown guy, who basically she says like barely human. He's a psychopath, and he dresses like clowns. Well, because he loves clowns. And Bob is the genius behind everything. He is a sociopath. He's
got a 180 IQ.
Yeah, so this guy is literally a genius, absolutely crazy. And he says, "Well, what about you?" And she says how she's a part of an organization. And we see her crossing off names in a little notepad. She literally has a hit list that she's knocking it off. So at this point, we see Hideo now is going into the ductwork coming after them. We see Fritz the Clown's walking around the building all creepy. And we see Phil is frozen dead in a cooler. Why, of course, Joel awkwardly is like getting some ice.
They're like digging out the ice. And he goes to grab an ice cube and he puts it in his mouth. And Carrie just goes, "I wouldn't do that." And he goes, "But I'm parched. And I'm like really hungover and I'm dehydrated." And then they move the ice and you see the dead body. And he does exactly what Justin does when he chokes on bananas. I love it.
Dude, it's not fair. I have to get my potassium every single day because I'm a healthy person. I eat a banana. And people always talk to me at work when I'm eating a banana. Like, especially Eric. Like, you know what? Special shout out to Eric. Fuck you. Let me just have my daily banana break. And let me just have it. No matter what. He always finds me. He always finds me when I'm just trying to eat it.
He always finds that spot.
It's ridiculous. That's not what I said. Anyway, so at this point, Carrie is like, "I gotta kill you first, and like we're gonna stage this up and everything." So they pull out the frozen dead body and everything. And at this point, we see a quick scene of all the other 3 guys are already disintegrating the body up there. They're cleaning up. They're on cleanup duty. We see Bob. He finds a license and he's looking at the address and realizes, "Oh shit, this little bastard. He knows who Joel is now." And
son of a bitch.
We see Clown Man. Fritz actually opens the door from the outside, and he gets his fingers. She slices his fingers off.
Did you see that part when he was like walking on the street? He freezes while the cop passes by. He's not gonna say him.
That was low key. Such a nice like touch on the movie. Like he's a chameleon. He blends in.
Yeah.
And I know it's probably not a shout out, but Justin, didn't you feel like this clown scene kind of reminded you of Killer Clowns from Outer Space? When the clown's walking away and he's going to do like the shadow figures.
Yeah, the shadow figure stuff. Yeah, that was such a little goofy thing in there. But then Hideo finds them, and Hideo comes in. He sees the intestines out, which is they use Phil's, and of course he tastes it, and he realizes right away.
Immediately disgusted.
He's disgusted. He realizes right away there is something wrong, and then all of a sudden we see it is Joel's body, and Kerry comes. They struggle a little bit. Kerry comes up from behind and strangles him wraps the intestines around his neck, and he gets strangled to death by the intestines.
I got a quick question. Do you think she strangled him? Because I was just rewatching this before we did the podcast. When she pulls real tight, I almost hear a crunch. I think she broke his neck.
Yeah, so she was definitely strangling, but then I don't know, she like twisted it and pulled at the same time. She snaps his neck because
I think maybe it registered in her head that he can slow his heart rate and kind of pretend like he's dead.
Yeah, no, she's definitely snapped his neck. She was strangling him first, and then she definitely crunched his neck. And at that point, we see Joel pulls the fire alarm. He's like, haha, let's do this. And then we see Bob run outside, and he actually calls the cops. Basically says it was them two screaming, murder, murder, the blood is crazy.
The blood! Oh, she's got a leather jacket on and a lesbian haircut. And I think she's got an accomplice.
Yeah, awesome description of them. And
so
then the cops come. We see the two of them get arrested as the three killers now got binoculars and are just like across the street or something. And they're literally just like right there watching them.
Dude, Mike is so pissed.
And they're so
what are we going to do now?
And I love Bob. Like Bob's line right there was like my favorite. He smiles. He's like, gentlemen, we are about to have a lot of fun tonight. And at this point it's just going to actually just get so crazy. So now we're going to fast forward. We're in the police station, and Joel is telling these three cops like the actual truth. He's telling them everything, how he stumbled across a 12-step program for serial killers, and there's a bunch of people dead, and the guy's basically just like writes bullshit. He doesn't care at all. And Kerry's warning the cops. She's like, yo, we are fucked. Like there's guys going to come in here and kill us all. There's only three of you. Everyone else is gone. Like, we need help. The cop basically is talking to the other cops now, and he's saying how he's freaked out by this girl and everything. And Joel ends up getting his one call. He calls Sarah, says that he's in jail. He is begging her, don't come. Bob's a killer, but she basically already hangs up. And Kerry and Joel get thrown right into two different cells. And we have some talk today, whatever. They do their bonding in the cell and everything. And then we see Bob walk in as a special agent.
Can we just talk about these agents real quick? When she says the both of you are armed with a typewriter, and she goes, and special forces up at the front desk is buried in a magazine eating cold takeout. And he like picks the noodle up and slurps on it. But I think my favorite part of that whole detective scene is when, what's his name? Howland? Is that Holland is talking to Kerry, and he goes, your friend over there is spilling the beans, and he just pokes his head out and goes like, I'm telling him everything, don't worry about it, we're gonna get through this. Special Agent Jack Fielder comes strolling in and is greeted by Ned Flanders' patrol unit at the front desk. The shake and bake versions of the detectives gladly walk him out back to see Joel and Kerry. Bob tells Joel when he's done here, he's going to go back to the apartment to wrap things up with the roommate, just take her off the mat. Joel, in a panic, screams, I feel like you guys can hear everything he's saying to me right now.
Yeah, it's all right.
And the detective immediately turns around and goes, I can hear what he's saying to you, and everything is perfect. Joel then calls Bob a killer and that his mustache is fake. And Detective Doyle loses his fucking mind and just starts screaming, "You don't insult a man's mustache! I'm gonna murder you! Give me my gun! I'm gonna murder your face!"
It's like I was so this close.
Like, just starts going nuts, trying to like reach through the bars and grab him. Bob then like settles everyone down and he asks to talk to the detectives privately, who suggest they can go into the cap's office. And as the detectives are walking away, Bob looks at Joel and says, "I'm rock hard right now." And of course, Joel, being awkward, looks down at his erection. Thankfully, we didn't see the erection, but he instantly just went, "Oh God." Like I kind of wish they showed us not like the
nice.
actual erection, but like
Thank you.
a comic, like, you know what I mean? Like cucumber under the shirt. Yeah, exactly. But Bob leaves now when he goes to the cap's office, but not before throwing his bubblegum, I think, at Joel, and then picking the wedgie out of his ass because he's a class act. The group listens to Joel's tape recorder in the office and they realize it's fucking terrible. And it's just Joel's narration from earlier in the movie about the taxi cab driver movie. Ned Flanders is out front reading the magazine Joel actually writes in, and he sticks his gum under the desk like a fucking first grader. And then he hears a noise in the distance, so he goes to investigate, but he's completely creeped out and decides to turn around and go back. And just as he sits down, he sees a doll with a target on his desk that was not there before. Justin, what are you doing in that situation?
I just gone instantly.
Oh,
Right.
trust arms.
Nope. You definitely wouldn't poke the center of it where the target is for it to rock back and forth and then start laughing at you, right?
No,
No,
don't do
because
that.
that wouldn't be enough of a
want.
distraction for Fritz the Clown to sneak up behind you, jab paralytic into your neck, leaving you fully paralyzed onto the ground, and then having him go over him with a hammer and a nail and jam this fucking like 6 to like 10-inch spike right in between his eyeballs.
Yes.
And just he apologizes. He goes, "Sorry, cop,"
Insane.
and then drags away the body laughing.
Absolute psychopath. That guy is terrifying.
Jesus.
I if they ever do a sequel or prequel or they do anything with any of these killers, I need a Fritz the Clown movie. The fact that earlier in the movie when he's describing what he does and he's like, "Well, you see, I like to be efficient with the accounting, and when I get my victim, I tend to kill them multiple times to improve my stat count. I usually, I murder them and then I resuscitate them, put them on life support, and I do it over and over again for about several months. And then my final kill is the most gratifying because I actually do torture them. It's the most painful, but it's kind of like a reward to myself. It's like a treat.
I earned this.
Yeah, I earned this. I did good.
Insane.
It is so fucking disturbing. But the lights go out now, and shithead detective number 1 panics, and he can't even draw his weapon properly, all while he's blaming Tony for blowing a fuse for using the popcorn maker in the evidence room. So Doyle now leaves to go investigate. He wants to take the whiskey with him, but Bob says, "Hey, don't you worry, we ain't gonna finish that bottle without you. The only way you're not finishing that bottle with us is if you drop dead tonight." Doyle responds with a very heartfelt and like completely emotionally changing, "Hope not. I'm all my stepdaughter Sharon has left in this world." And at this point in time, I went from absolutely hating those dickhead cops to like, oh, this dude actually might have a heart. Kerry, we get a quick scene of Kerry picking the lock from the paperclip that she took after she headbutted Joel in the face. And then we go back, and Doyle is now looking for Tony, and he's fucking pissed. Like, he's screaming at him. Instead of going and doing the fuse himself, he's just yelling obscene things to Tony, completely overlooking the giant like pool of blood at Tony's desk. And then he clumsily starts knocking shit over in the evidence room until he finds the circuit breaker, and he notices they've been messed with. And then bam, just like your typical slasher movie, Mike is right behind him. He turns around and he fucking cuts his arm off like a hot knife through butter.
Man.
Doyle then looks up in pure fear as Mike plunges the machete through his lower abdomen for the kill. We go back now and we see Bob talking with Detective Holland. And he goes, "Hey, is that rain jacket regulation?" And he goes, Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you try it on? The cap won't mind. So he does, and he goes, "Hey, is this waterproof?" And Holland goes, "Like a duck's ass."
Yeah.
What? Can we use that now, Justin?
Because
whenever someone asks you something, just go like a duck's ass.
Is
No,
that waterproof?
We're not using that. Nope.
No.
Like a duck's
please.
ass.
No, please. We're just.
And then
gonna move
as
on.
he says that, dude, he's sitting there, and Bob just picks up pencils and like looks at him, and he looks like he's gonna start drumming, having a gay old time, you know. Boop, 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 boop.
Boom.
And Holland is like, "What's going on, buddy? You're acting a little weird." And he just kind of gently looks at both of his ears, and then fucking jams him
Boom.
right into
House
each
on
one
Haunted
of his
Hill
ears.
style.
And just drops his ass. Like he pulls one of them out, so he just bleeds out everywhere. Holland hits the ground, and Bob stands over him and takes off the jacket and throws it on top of him and goes, "That's right, like a duck's ass." And then he peels off the fake mustache and throws it at him.
Insane.
Fritz then
good-
gives Bob a jump scare as he turns around, and Bob's pissed because no one scares Bob. That just doesn't happen, right? Wrong, because Mike, when he turns around, Mike's right there and he scares the shit out of him again. And he yells at them both to like get their shit together. They got a job to do. So they head downstairs only to realize Joel and Carrie have broken out. Bob then picks up Carrie's like journal thing and he shows Fritz and Mike. And it turns out the Utah incident they've been talking about in the beginning of the movie was actually caused by Carrie. And what it was is she killed that entire self-help group out in Utah before transferring to their group, claiming to be from South Dakota. Who the fuck even lives in South Dakota?
No, I've never heard.
That was just such a weird
Yeah.
cover. It was like she's clearly going state by state by state,
Mhm.
but I figured she would have been like, "Yeah, I'm from Chicago." You know what I mean? I don't know. I just that kind of like threw me off. Just South Dakota was just so random.
I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah.
I have.
You're the only one.
Right.
Carrie and Joel now sneak up sneers.
Snare.
Sneak up.
You gotta
Sneak up sneers.
Sneak up sneers.
And Joel aggressively tries not to puke as he almost lands in Tony's blood pool. Carrie kicks him out the front door and goes, "I don't need you. Get the fuck out of here. Like, go do something. Get away from me. This is all your fault. I'd be done by now and at home watching, Golden Girls."
Dexter.
She then locks herself in the police station and is ready to start her version of fun. We do get a really cool hallway scene that I fucking love. And it's like the teleport scene where people are like, "Oh, how does Michael Myers move so fast?" Well, Fritz kind of does this. It shows him walking across the hallway into a door. And then as the camera pans, he's just magically standing there. I thought it was great. And then we also see Mike, who's wandering around in the dark with a fucking welder's mask on. Still, he picks up the flashlight from Doyle's severed arm, and he jump scares himself because he shines it on a mannequin with a cop hat on. Mike turns now, and he's face to face with Carrie, who disarms him and then chops the machete like half an inch into this motherfucker's neck. And I mean, his neck muscles have neck muscles that are currently working on getting neck muscles. Like, Waterboy, your calves ain't got fucking shit on this dude's neck muscles. So one chop, one good hack with that machete, even though he just clean cut off a detective's forearm right through the bone, ain't doing shit to his neck. It's like this dude just cut himself shaving. He's got no oomph, just pulls it out, and then he just starts swinging sporadically. But he's too big and he's too slow. And Carrie gets like the best of him, and she does her best version of like a Sonya Blade impression, and she leg sweeps him to the ground, jumps up into the air, and does like the Superman hero like landing pose, and then just puts machete right through his head. You like that, right? Yeah. I saw that and I was like, that was dope. Yep. She jumps straight up into the air and just does the full pose.
Superhero landing, love it.
And then although Joel told her not to, Sarah shows up to the police station anyways. She's knocking on windows and doors. No lights are on. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, clearly there's something wrong. You need to call the other police to come check on these police.
And
because
where were
clearly,
the police? Oh my God.
Yeah. And wouldn't it click in your head that even though he was like, these guys are murderers, don't come here. Everything's completely vacant. What does she think? The fucking police station just works a 9 to 5?
That was so dumb.
Yeah, it blew my mind. And then we get another really cool scene of her completely out back in an alleyway, knocking on like a what do you call those glass doors? Like glazed glass, so you really can't see through them, but you can kind of see images.
Yeah, you see
And
the
she's
images.
knocking on it. She's looking around. She tried to open the door. It fucking didn't open. And then we see Fritz the Clown literally just body morph in front of it, unlock the door, and then like, whoop, see you later, move away. But he unlocked it so loudly that she heard it, and then decides it's a good idea to open the door and go inside. Like,
I was like,
I was like yelling at the TV.
yeah. I'm like, you can't be serious.
That's the dumbest thing I've seen in this movie.
And then the power finally comes back on, and Fritz the Clown is right behind her. She falls down in a quick panic, but she gets right back up, and you just hear nose, knee, head, beating the shit out of Fritz the Clown. Sarah is low-key now a badass.
So funny. Like, what just happened?
Yeah, Joel comes running back into the police station, clearly impressed, and he just goes, "Hey, your classes are really paying off. Like, that was awesome." Carrie then walks around, and she like goes right through Joel and fucking Sarah, just no hesitation. And she grabs Fritz's strong hand, the one with two fingers, and she makes him inject that shit into his own neck. Carrie looks back at the two and she goes, "I'm guessing you're Sarah?" She goes, "Uh-huh." She goes, "You mind waiting outside for a minute?" So Sarah literally does what she's told and goes outside. Yeah. Carrie then looks happy that Joel's come back, kind of like she's got a thing for him. I'm picking up those vibes, like she's kind of falling for him, like that cute, nerdy, like geeky needs me more than I need him type of feeling. And just before Joel can like put his own foot in his mouth and fuck this whole situation up, Carrie says to hold that thought. And hold that thought.
Hold that dot. Wait, he's gonna hold a thought?
Yeah.
Hold on.
She turns around, bro, and then she flips over the desk, completely crushing Fritz's head.
Love it.
I don't know if you guys can pinpoint this, but I felt like this was a nod to like an iconic kill. I just can't put my finger on it. Like, I feel like I've seen some kind of kill like this.
Yes, well, there was a kill in one of the Final Destination movies where the ladder fell through the guy's eye.
I know that, but this was like a full head squish.
Yeah, it screamed, right? When they throw a stew. When they
all right, yes, that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, they flipped the thing over.
At first, I was thinking Freddy Krueger, Dream Warriors, when he grabs the chick's head and he goes, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." But I was like, that's not it. And then it's Stu when she flips the TV over on him, and that's how he dies.
Yeah, that's how Stu died. Rest in peace.
I fucking love it. All right. So Carrie turns around to let Joel finish talking, but that distraction is just long enough for Bob to come out of nowhere and stab Carrie with a switchblade. Joel gets in the way, though, before he can finish her, and he takes that blade directly through the forearm. Like, he doesn't just stab him in the forearm, he goes right through it. It is nasty. That Bob pushes Joel to the side, like he just, "Get the fuck out of here. You're a rag doll. Don't worry about it." And he starts strangling Carrie. Joel very slickly picks up the phone and goes, "Hey, douchebag, here's your one phone call," and knocks him the fuck out. Wasting no time, though, he grabs Carrie and brings her out to Sarah's car. He is yelling, "Start the car! Start the car!" They get in the car. They start heading to the hospital, not before they commit a quick, hit and run on Bob, seemingly left him for dead. I'm kind of proud of them that, there's no cops around, so they can't get arrested for doing a hit and run.
Yeah,
that's very ballsy to do that at the police station. Don't you guys think?
Honestly,
not in this movie because all the other cops disappeared. The whole movie.
They're all dead. They're all dead.
There was only 3 cops in this entire town.
I was like, no other cops checked in. Like, no one called the office. Like, no one checked on them. Like,
all right.
Where's the person taking the phone calls?
This very next scene, I feel like, Justin, have you ever broken a bone in your life?
No.
Have you ever needed stitches?
Yes.
Were you awake for those stitches?
Yes.
I feel like what I'm about to say is you in a nutshell.
Oh, boy.
Joel gets to the hospital and begins begging for drugs. The doctor asks him how this happened, and he replies with, "I fell down some stairs." The doctor then pulls the knife out of Joel's arm, and Joel screams, "Oh, fuck you, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be striking at you. You're just doing your job. I hate you." "I don't hate you. Actually, it's not that bad."
I was screaming when I got my stitches. and I had fallen
Did
down
you act
so
like
many
that?
stairs.
Did you
I tried
actually-
holding it together, and the thing is, I punched through a window by accident. I was trying to slam a basement window. I was trying to slam it, and it was like thin glass, the basement windows. I slammed it so hard, my whole arm went through, and my neighbors heard me screaming. I ran upstairs with blood dripping everywhere. It was terrible.
Why were you doing that to the window?
I was just trying. It
wouldn't shut.
Yeah.
All right, so we now see Carrie, and she's in the hospital room in recovery, and she is in rough shape. Joel's sitting out in the waiting room trying to explain to Sarah everything that's been going on. And Sarah kind of comes off as jealous. She starts asking, is Carrie your girlfriend? And things get like a little weird because he's like, no, like she's just like a really cool. No, she's just like a cool chick. Like she's like a friend, and I'm a friend, and like I don't even know what she's talking about. And then the doctor walks over and he gives them an update, and this dude is a fucking klutz. As he's talking, he drops one glove. How's things? Pick it up. Picks them up, and then immediately drops the next glove and just walks away like nilly-dilly. Like I was expecting to see this dude like skip or maybe clap his feet.
Shout out to Paul, because I actually brought that saying to this office that I'm at now. I'm the one who started. Yep, I got it.
It is everywhere. Justin gets that saying thrown at him at least once a day, preferably with a clear clipboard.
Dude, I dropped. I don't even want to talk about it. So
annoying. No, it's hilarious, Justin.
No, it isn't even a little bit funny. I drop a lot of shit, so I have to hear that like 4 times a day. I move fast. I drop shit.
Don't drop shit, dude.
I'm clumsy. I move fast. I have insane ADD. I don't know how to like just go normal speed.
Me neither, but they hated me for it.
All right, so Joel is feeling a little bit parched because he's still hungover. So he goes for some water, and as he's getting water, he sees blood everywhere, and he sees like a little footprints and like a trail. Opens the closet door, and he sees what I call Bob's kill kit, and he knows that Bob is now here, and he's dressed like a doctor. And then we see Bob, and he's hobbling his way to Carrie's room to finish the job, and we get a very beautiful score. I don't know if this music made you guys feel like it, but I felt like this was Terminator Judgment style. Like I felt like the Terminator was coming to kill Sarah.
Sarah Connor.
It was just, the music was very well in the scene. But Joel shows up and he distracts him again for a split second. These distractions, you think these killers would learn. He distracts him for like half a second, and it's just enough time for Carrie to wake up and react to Bob's scalpel. Joel hits this man not once, but twice with those metal bedpans, and then he pushes him on a gurney out into the hallway like, see you later. Slams him right into the wall. Bob is not in good shape right now. Joel rushes out before Bob can get to his feet, and he puts Bob in a chokehold. Bob still manages, though, to grab the scalpel off the ground, and just before he can use it, Carrie pulls some like crazy fucking Karate Kid moves and makes Bob stab himself in the gut. And she's pissed now. So she starts stabbing him and using that scalpel with his own hand. Like she's holding his arm and making him stab himself. She treats him like a fucking pincushion. She's stabbing him like 20 times.
Dude, this is exactly what happens in prison. That's
yeah. I don't know. And then she pulls it out and she stabs him directly in his eyeball. And he's just woozy and nothing's going on. And he's starting to like bleed out in the mouth. And you can't understand a word he says, but the subtitle said, he goes, good luck. Like, good luck for what, dude? You're fucking dead on your feet right now. He drops to the ground. And like I said, blood is just pouring out everywhere. And then he, for some reason, decides it's a great idea to try and pull the blade out of his eyeball. But he's successful. He does pull the blade out of his eye socket, because the eyeball came with the blade. And he looks at it and he just drops onto the ground. Bob is dead. He's bleeding out on the floor. We are all done. Joel is very proud of himself now. And he just goes, hey, I didn't even gag. And just as he goes to high five Carrie, he throws up all over Bob's head.
More chunky puke.
Yeah, dude. More curdled gravy. Carrie then looks at him and goes, you know what? I've been doing some thinking in the recovery room, and I could really use an intern. And he goes, really? Okay. And he puts on like a doctor's outfit and like a mask and just kind of smiles at Sarah, who's still alone waiting in the waiting room while all this fucking chaos is going on. And then we jump to sometime in the future where Joel has finally hit puberty and he walks into a movie theater, like a drive-in, and seeing a poster for the movie that he had pitched at the beginning of this movie. The movie, wow, that's a mouthful. He sees the movie that he pitched, watching the movie at the beginning of this movie. Does that make sense, Justin?
I know. Yeah, I get
know
what
what
you're
I'm
saying.
saying. All right.
I get what you're putting down.
And then he goes up, and this guy is listed as the clerk. He goes up, and he goes, pretty much orders one of everything on the menu. To which the guy responds with, "We're closed for the season." And he goes, "Oh, really? Then what are you doing here?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm working to stay busy. Got to restock the shelves." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Well, can I just use the bathroom and I'll leave?" He goes, No, it's out of order." And he goes, "No, don't worry about it, dude. It's just number one." And he takes off and he goes right into the bathroom where he sees this girl hogtied and like gagged on the ground. And the clerk is standing right behind him. And you think he would have tried to kill Joel, but no, he starts backing up to run away. And as he backs up and turns around, bam, he gets a fucking axe directly to the head, dropped like a sack of bricks. Carrie looks at him and goes, "Why don't you go get some snacks for the road and I'll go set her free." And we get another scene where, wow, brain fog. What's up, Justin? Stop looking at me like that. You're intimidating me. All right.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Stop judging me.
All right,
Stop judging me.
Go back.
You're making this uncomfortable.
I was trying to look engaged.
All right. Well, Carrie is in the car waiting for Joel. Joel hops in and sits down, and she just goes, "Did you forget something?" And he goes, "Nope, got them all: cotton candy, popcorn, pretzels, jubes. What else? What else could you want?" And then he goes, "Oh, the axe." He runs back inside and grabs the axe and comes out, and he just looks at her. And Carrie goes, "Did you puke?" And Joel joyfully goes, "No." Like super happy, super pumped about himself. And she goes, "Did you gag?" And he just shamefully instantly goes, "Yes." And then they start to drive away as this drive-in movie theater is burning down with the taxi Driller is the name of the movie. Taxi Cab Driller is playing on the big screen. And we hear the key catchphrase, "Your meter's broken, bitch." And we get end credits.
The end.
That's a fucking movie. That is a wrap.
Game over.
Justin, I didn't know you wrote movies.
Was that vicious fun or what?
Did you guys see there's a movie, there's a scene after the credits?
No.
Yeah, it wasn't that important. It wasn't that important. It was just the movie director guy that earlier, like talking to something. But there was definitely like a minute.
You made it sound so good.
I'm like, "Do you guys see it?" And then you're like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, it wasn't important.
It wasn't important.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it."
Is that how you describe movies? People like, "Dude, did you see Vicious Fun?" Oh my god, it was a movie.
Like, "Oh, how was it?" Oh, no, it was okay.
I do want to say how our boy Fritz, Julian Richings, is like throughout a bunch of horror movies. Like he's in the very first scene of the movie The Cube. He was Three Finger in the very first Wrong Turn movie.
Dude, I believe he's also in The Witch, isn't he?
Yeah, he's incredible.
He's also, Justin, I think I told you this at work. I know you don't watch the TV series, but Waterboy, Supernatural. You watch that series, right?
I have seen a couple episodes of that.
There is 4 horsemen in that movie. Obviously, you got like Pestilence and all that stuff. He plays Death, and he plays it perfect.
Sean, how insane is it? I told you, we talked about how he looks familiar. Yeah. Dude, the day before I posted Wrong Turn content on our page, he was in the Wrong Turn video I posted. He's the guy with long hair.
Yeah, he's the one with like the distorted nose and shit.
Yes, dude, like the day before. I'm like, I don't know where I've seen them. I released content with him in it the day before. How insane is that?
Dude, amazing.
Insane. He's like low key everywhere. And when you see him in a movie, I feel like you know it's going to be great.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, how about freaking Mike? Please tell me you guys know who Mike was.
Dude, Mike.
Dude, from the friggin' dude, do you remember like in wrestling, the Oddities? Do you remember Insane Clown Posse would sing the song from wrestling? There was he was a professional wrestler. There was that group, the Oddities. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Also, the ICP song called The Oddities. They would perform it live as the stupid Oddities would come down. It was a group of 4 people. He was a wrestler. He was a pro. He was in the WWF, the giant guy. He was with friggin' ICP in them.
He has that really deep voice.
Can I just mention one of my favorite scenes in the movie to you guys? We glossed over it, but when they go to break time, when they're talking about like how to blend in with society and stuff, I don't take this as like a self-help group. Well, I do, but not to like control your urges, but like how to get away with it and how to come off as more human type self-help, because none of these people have any real characteristics. But when Zachary is sitting there and he brags about how he's the best killer out of all of them, and he's like works for the government, and how he poisoned the rainwater in a village and watched them all die from a treetop. Love it. Zach is one of my favorite characters, but there's a line when they go to break time. He looks at Hideo, and Hideo is pissed because he wants Bob to get there to talk before they go for break, because he's like very structured, needs that shit. And he just goes, why don't you just fucking sit there and wait? Why don't you drop your heart rate to 0 or 10 or whatever the fuck you do? And then he just like goes, your heart rate's racing, isn't it? I can feel it going up. Like he's antagonizing him and just like edging him the whole time, dude. And I loved it. And it's so low key and like in the background.
Pretty awesome. All right, let's talk rankings. Who wants to go first? What do you got?
I'll let you go first. Yeah.
So
okay.
What? All right, my turn.
All right.
But
that was a good one, Justin. I guess exactly what you were going to say.
All right, awkward pause.
That was really awkward.
Keep it in.
Oh, that was really weird. Oh my god, is someone going to say something? What do you got? Talk. Oh, Sean, go ahead. What do you got?
No. You go.
Wait. Am I going?
Yeah. Age Before Beauty.
All right. So, wait. I
Justin,
thought Justin was going.
What the fuck? You said All right. I love the 80s feel, the 80s vibe of this. Took place in the 80s. The music was awesome. I love Joel. The super awkwardness of Joel was awesome. Super fun movie. I love the whole meta slashes of the 80s. I feel like there's been like tons of meta slashes lately, but I still think this was like a really fun one. I give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Highly recommend it.
What do you got? Waterboy, what do you got?
So, I thought this was a pretty good movie as well. I mean, for a Shudder original, the idea was pretty awesome. I mean, I haven't really seen that done before. The main character Joel, he was awesome. It was perfect throughout the movie. All the acting, awesome. Especially that jukebox scene. That was amazing.
That was beautiful.
That was perfect.
Great cast.
But yeah, all in all, this movie was amazing. Definitely worth the watch for anybody who's like slasher movies or any movie really. I'm going to give this a 7.7 out of 10, and definitely worth the watch.
Definitely. All right, so I got down. I absolutely love the synthy score throughout this movie. It's beautifully done. One of my favorite parts in the opening scene, like we had talked about Waterboy, and you had mentioned it. We see Phil, and he's sharpening a knife right off the rip. So you get that eerie feeling in that score, and it just sets the tone right off the grip. And then we realize that he's the traveling salesman selling kitchen knives. Makes sense. It's fucking Minnesota in 1983. And then he dies by the knife, dude. So there's instant connections with everything that goes on. And it's just, it's beautifully done. That is a great opening to a movie. I also love like the outside shots of the fog outside of the house. That was beautiful. You get very 80s vibes, even with like the neon lighting, the music, everything, right down to Joel's fucking calculator wristwatch.
Yes.
Did you guys see that?
Yes. I got fun facts about Joel.
So, before we get too crazy, I give this movie like an 8.5. I've watched it 4 times in the last 3 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, I really like this. I love these modern movies set in, the 70s, the 80s. Like we just did Late Night with the Devil. I loved it. This one, I love it. It's 1983. I don't know what it is about these movies. It grabs a hold of me and it reels me in. So 8.5. I wanted to give it higher, but I couldn't because it reminded me of Final Girls. Of that, very tropey, very
well. That's
campy.
why I said there's a ton of these lately, like a ton of them. Like it's almost there's a lot now. Like when they first started seeing them, I started loving it, but there's a lot of these now. But I still think this is like a really But I still think
This is definitely a fun watch. Very, very
yeah.
fun watch. And I
Super fun
highly
watch.
recommend it to anyone. And it is also a great intro to horror. Yes, there's gory kills and all that stuff, but it is still fun. Justin, you want to give me some fun facts?
Yeah, we got some fun facts. The Halloween tie-in is kind of really loose because I don't really count like fan movies, but this one was a more popular like movie. The person who did the stunts, Aniko Kazas, did the stunts for this movie. She was in the fan-made movie Halloween Reflection, which is all about Michael Myers. But so this director, shout out Cody Callahan, awesome guy. Like
Dude,
this
he
guy,
fucking killed this movie.
he knocked this out of the park. He's awesome. I watched some interviews with him to get the fun facts. And Joel was designed to. I've never do you know who Joel was designed to look like? Even I guess the jacket he looked like.
I know this one. I'll let Waterboy take a guess.
Yeah. I've never even seen the movie, so it's embarrassing, even though I know what the character looks like, because I mean it's like one of the most famous movies like in history.
I'll give you a hint. Oh, geez, Doc.
Oh, Marty McFly?
Yeah, Marty
Yes.
McFly. Down to
Yes.
even like the jacket and everything he was Marty McFly. He was obviously that was done on purpose for that. And Carrie, I thought was really cool. He designed Carrie to be just a random girl in the underground 80s punk scene. So she was supposed to have like that badass like punk feel to it. And I thought it was really cool too that the director, he started this movie with just the title. He says he's never done this before, and most people obviously don't. They like work backwards. You have a story, you don't know what you're going to call it. I forget the story. I listened to the story of how he found the name, and he thought of the name Vicious Fun. And he's like, this is going to be the name of the movie. And then he worked from there. He had no clue what Vicious Fun was going to be. He talked about how he didn't even know it was going to be like a comic book or anything. And then he actually talked about how he came up with the idea of he wanted to have a bunch of serial killers in there. But then he realized, like, wait, how the hell would that make sense? So he's like, wait, if we have Vicious Fun be like, he then talked about having like a meeting and the comic. It was just cool how we were. I guess I probably just stuttered and didn't make complete sense, but it was really cool how we worked backwards. This whole thought process.
I get where you're going at.
Yeah.
And I love too when they name drop the name of the movie in the movie.
Yeah.
Like in those opening set of scenes when when that director's like, what do you work for? Vicious Fun? And he's like, Vicious Fanatics. And he's like, Vicious Fun. He's like, Fanatics. Better. And he goes, sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
And the last thing I say is the director was hoping for a sequel. He was hoping to see how it played out and everything. And this movie also had a lot of issues because of COVID. This came out during COVID time. So that's kind of how it got lost in the shuffle. He was so excited that Shudder, he had a hard time for distribution because he had a few deals, I guess, that they fell through. Everything got shut down. And then Shudder ended up picking it up. So he was very excited to have Shudder rescue this movie.
I would love to see a sequel or a prequel.
Yeah,
like, I would love to see what happens in Utah.
See what happened in Utah, yeah.
But that would sacrifice Joel's character. And I think Joel and Bob make this movie.
Yeah. And another fun fact, just so Bob is best friends with the director. Like they actually, they literally both from Canada. They grew up together watching 80s horror movies. Like I said, I watched a whole interview with him, so I thought that was pretty cool that Bob and him were actually really good friends. And there's a lot of improv in this movie. A lot of the Joel's quirky lines he added, and they said the cops, they just let them say anything. So they said a lot of
those cops were fucking wild.
Even Bob, the actor, something. He said that he loved the cops because they you never knew what they were going to say next. He said they just
vibed so well.
Awesome.
And to be supporting characters just for like the third act, or like if you broke it up into quarters, they're 3/4 of the movie in, those guys crush it.
Yeah, like I said, they don't have a ton of airtime, but the screen time, but the amount of screen time they have, they absolutely crush it. They're really, really fun.
All right, Waterboy, you got anything?
I have nothing.
All right,
I had one with the American Psycho reference. That was the only one I found. But
yeah,
that's what I got. I got in several scenes, Bob wears a raincoat. This is obviously in reference to American Psycho, featuring fictional 80s serial killer Patrick Bateman. Zombie from 1979, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, and The Dwelling. All movie posters can be seen in Joel's room. Surprised you didn't catch that, Justin. I know you love when you see movies in movies.
Oh yeah, movies and movies. You know that.
And then I kind of I struggled finding fun facts, but I love this movie so much that I wrote down who I thought these characters were based off of. And I want you guys to tell me if you agree. Now we get Bob. Bob gives off, and it's in one of the fun facts, clearly, Patrick Bateman vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But where he's slick, he's a chameleon, he's his own lawyer, he pretends to do real estate. Women love him. Who's an infamous serial killer that fits that description to a T?
Bundy.
Bundy. I have Ted Bundy is Bob.
Wait, did you guess that?
That's what I wrote down.
So that's just you like
Yeah.
guessing?
I sat in my mail truck today on lunch and I made a list.
Yeah, no, you're correct. Like I said, I like this movie, and I literally, like I said, I watched a screen panel interview with 5 of the main characters, and they asked Bob, his name's Ari something, and he said
it's Ari Millen.
Thank you. I couldn't pronounce it. Ari Millen, and he says the main person that he based it on was a little bit of Bundy. So
a little bit of Bundy never goes wrong.
So that you're right. So you are actually correct.
Oh yeah.
And then my next one that I started to like really look at was this madman right here, Mike. Clearly, everyone thinks he's that typical camp slasher. You would relate him to Jason Voorhees or like fucking.
And he also used a machete.
Just any big burly, camp slasher.
Yeah.
Like Victor Crowley would fit this very well.
Oh yeah.
So I tried to relate him to another serial killer of that size and that stature and that brutality. Do you guys want to take a guess?
Somebody that big.
I'll give you a hint. He was in Mindhunters and he also read children's books. Like he narrated them. Ed Kemper.
Is that,
you guys know who Ed Kemper is? He's like fucking 7 feet tall.
Oh my God.
He is just a massive, like he looks like a massive gentle giant. Yeah. But that dude is one of the most brutal killers in all of history.
And isn't this dude almost 7 foot tall too? This guy was like,
he is fucking huge. The next one I tried to dissect was Fritz the Clown. And I don't know if either one of you have ever heard of this is a real person. He's called the Toy Box Killer.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Where he used to kidnap his victims and he would torture them repeatedly, but he would keep them alive for like toys. Like he would, it's all disgusting, and I don't want to get too much into it.
I hate that story.
It was very gross of the people that he did that.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Like he even got lazy to the point where he would make his own videotape so he didn't have to talk to him.
Yeah.
And then you can mix in like John Wayne Gacy, because of the clown thing.
Clown aspect, yeah.
But then I started trying to think of like an actual movie character that I could relate him to. And if you could take the Joker from Batman and make him less with the theatrics and more with like the torture and like calculated kills, because he's got no rhyme, no reason to anything he does, but he has a rhyme and a reason to what he does. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, he also looked like that dude from 31 too. Like,
yes. That was
also
in my notes. That was literally the next guy.
Yeah, he reminded me a little, obviously, of what the guy you said. 100%. And then he reminded me of Richard, someone from 31.
When he like chases him out into the street, that guy.
Yes, towards the end and stuff. How his face looks and everything. Yeah, he looks like
perfect. Yeah,
he looks like the guy from 31 when his face is all bloody and everything.
And then Zachary, obviously, it's just he's the government. Like even Mike says it, he goes, "It's easy to have hundreds of kills with government funding."
Oh yeah,
like the government is clearly the most ruthless serial killer of all time, unmatched, hands down. That was easy,
hands down.
Hideo, I think he's Hannibal Lecter if he was a fucking ninja.
I was just
without question.
Well, see, Hannibal Lecter could be a ninja because of the heightened IQ. I mean, like that guy.
Well, not just like the heightened IQ, but the fact that he's a chef. And he eats meat, like he eats humans. He's cannibal, but he's an exquisite chef.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He specializes in fusion.
Yeah, like the guy from Dumb and Dumber. Remember Dumb and Dumber? Isn't it the crazy chef? He's like,
Yep.
He's like,
so I was thinking like Hannibal Lecter, or have you guys ever seen the movie Fresh? No, where the guy like goes on a date and he kidnaps the girl and he literally like makes her eat her own ass cheek.
Well, that's.
Like the movie's fucked up. It's on Hulu.
Whoa! He makes her eat her own ass.
Yeah, Yeah.
Okay.
And then Carrie. I know you said like punk rocker from the 80s.
Yeah. Yep.
She reminds me of a female Dexter. Do you know who Dexter is?
Yeah.
He's the
Yeah,
serial killer who only kills serial killers.
Serial killers.
Yep. And then Joel gives off mixed character like vibes of Mikey from the Goonies, Marty McFly from Back to the Future. I think Brian Johnson from The Breakfast Club, Charlie Brewster from Fright Night, and Justin from the Lakeville Post Office.
Let's go. Shout out that guy.
Shout out.
Let's go.
And that is my list.
Yeah.
One thing I did hear is Phil, at the beginning of this movie, I was listening to a podcast called Scream. And these girls and Caleb broke it down to where he is basically the killer from Loving Bones. Have you ever seen The Loving Bones?
Don't even know what that means.
Like right down to his costume, his eyeglasses, the way he acts, the car he drives, all that stuff. So I thought that was a pretty cool nod, but we don't know enough about Phil for me to try and match him up to someone.
Sounds good.
All right. That is about it, boys. I don't have anything else. I'm done talking. Justin is fully checked out, and Waterboy looks like a timer went off that says, get the fuck up here.
Yeah.
Justin checked out about 45 minutes ago.
It was kind of
I got
long
like one paragraph into my notes. You just started doing your dance.
There was a lot. There was a lot of talking. Oh, shit,
This is a fucking great movie, dude. I'm sorry. I got hyped up and I didn't want to miss anything.
No, it's good. I get it. It was good.
That's good. It's
And
good.
yeah, it was good.
It's good. It was
No,
good.
it's good. I liked it. I liked
He's
it.
already
Go
shut
on.
off the lights, dude. All right,
He's
see you
already
later.
done.
Bye.
He's already
I'm
done.
Anki. That's Stabby. This guy down here.
Oh,
Just
shit.
fuck me.
Oh, no, my bad. Great episode. Bye.